everyone, it's Kazea. As you can see from the title, you guys probably already know what this video is all about. Today, we will be ranking the different Winx transformations purely based on visuals. This means spells and how powerful the transformation is has no value in this rank list. We're purely judging based on character design and how well it represents their new power-up. Let's get started. So here's my list. At the bottom is jail, reserved for those who have violated my eyeballs by creating a criminal offense against fashion. A little bit above that is forgettable. This applies to designs that are too generic, boring, unmemorable, and overall a snooze fest. Next, we have missed opportunity. These are amazing concepts that would have slayed so hard, but Rainbow somehow fumbled. Next is aged like milk. Some things just looked better when I was a kid, and I acknowledge that. Above that is gagged, and of course, the peak of the peak. She's an icon, a legend, and she is the moment. Where do I even begin with this monstrosity? I hate it. I know that my opinion is heavily influenced by the terrible kidified animation, but the art style is a part of the design, and it's really hard to ignore. I was trying really hard to figure out why these designs feel so icky, and I realized that it's the uniformity of it all. Just look at the wings. They are literally the same set, but recolored, giving them no individuality whatsoever. If you put their silhouettes together side by side, I genuinely think none of you can recognize half of them, especially Bloom, Stella, and Flora. As for the fashion, now this is a literal crime. Again, it's the same formula for each girl. Top, skirt, tights, and boots with slight differences. I can see that they took inspiration from the OG transformation at least, with the girls getting a main and complementary color that are similar to their original form. But not even their OG combo can save this look. The worst color combo by far might be Flora's. Aside from the fact that she is way lighter now, this shade of cool, Christmassy green just doesn't do her any favor. It clashes with her hair and the warm pink. The concept of Cosmix itself is actually really good. They could have incorporated so many celestial elements to make this one of the most magical transformation there is. Yet somehow, they still managed to mess it up. Stella's, in particular, is very disappointing because she is literally the fairy of the moon and sun. She should have been the best looking in this transformation. It has so much potential, but instead, all we got is this generic, unfashionable rainbow vomit. This might sound harsh, but at some point, you can definitely tell that they were running out of ideas to differentiate the girls. It doesn't work for me because all of them look so similar to each other. This is because they're still technically connected to Bluemix, so naturally, the design had to take inspiration from it. Bluemix as a transformation already has a very niche aesthetic, which leaves very little room to come up with 12 more original designs that don't feel like a copy-paste of each other. They tried to justify its existence, but we all know it's to sell more merch. All of this could have easily been a Bluemix spell. Honorix is honestly the only Winx transformation that looks genuinely better in 3D. The 2D is fine, but I feel like the girls blend together a little too much with each other and the background. I really hate how they have the Cosmix treatment where they have the exact same wings, but in different colors. Like, why would you do my girls like that? This is another case of a cool concept, but bad execution. This could have been a great way to transform the girls with oceanic elements, using corals, aquatic plants, and marine life in general to create something show-stopping. I was low-key contemplating on whether I would put this in or not because I haven't watched World of Winx aside from the pilot episode, so I will be judging these based on looks alone, so bear with me here. In terms of design, they have the uniform problem again, but the only thing saving them is the art style and their wings. Because in regular 2D, this would have looked absolutely horrendous, but in this one, it saves it pretty well. My only issue with this is they're like a Monet. From afar, it looks fine, but when you look closer, it's a big old mess. You know, a character design is good when it automatically communicates what the transformation is about, and unfortunately, these catsuits are not giving dreams. There are many elements they could have used to make this more visually interesting, like clouds, stars, and nighttime, since sleeping is closely associated with dreams. Or they could have embraced the dreamism art style full on. The catsuits might be cute on a runway, but they just don't work here for me. The embellishments add more noise to the design instead of enhancing what's already there, and the color choices for some of the girls were a bit odd, to say the least. Same goes for Honorix. It is unclear what the word is based on, but it's supposed to be the upgraded version of Dreamix. The mesh cutout style is a bit outdated, and the belt details don't really save it for me. I think it would have been better without, because it's less busy. If I had to rank them, I think Dreamix is a bit higher because of the wings. They're so pretty, but they're relatively the same for me, like in equal footing. Their only saving grace is their art style. This is really where Rainbow lost me when it came to Winx. Similar to Cyrenix, the transformations feel more like a uniform. The wings are almost identical, but props for them at least for not just copy-pasting the wings and recoloring them, unlike a certain someone that we all know. Since it's meant to strengthen the bond between the fairies and their fairy animals, this would have been the perfect opportunity to explore concepts related to nature, inspired by flora and fauna. Choosing butterflies is not necessarily a terrible idea because they do have a lot of symbolism behind them, but they are a lot more narrow compared to the broader themes we've had before. I will say though that I feel like that's not an excuse to fumble this hard. If we must keep the butterfly theme, there are many species of butterflies that vary in looks, sizes, and even shape. They could have played with the unique natural transformation of butterflies and take inspiration from there during the transformation sequences. It's not the idea but the execution that counts. For Winx specifically, differentiating these girls, not only in color but also designs and elements, are necessary to communicate to the audience who they are and what makes them unique, especially since there are 6 of them. As for the dress, I don't hate the cut per se, but the bodice is the only part that elevates the design for me. I wish we had more variety in the skirt portion instead of each one of them getting almost the exact same cut. Mythics. The thing about Mythics is it looks really good in 2D, but flops so hard in 3D. If this was 2D, this would genuinely be leagues higher. But judging its 3D form in the show, it really did not do this transformation justice. It highlights the flaws in the fashion department that only 2D can save. Cause look at this compared to this. The hair was not hairing, many designs were simplified, and it just looked tacky and costumey. I appreciate that we can differentiate the girls from each other, but it's a cautionary tale on how you can fumble a good concept if you pick the wrong medium. I also think given that Mythics gave the Winx access to the Legendarium, a book about myths and legends, the concept should have been more centered around that. When you look at these designs, they don't really communicate that. They just feel like another transformation, which is a shame because we could have had something more mystical, fantastical, and fairy tale-like. Since they were inside the Legendarium, I would have loved the Enchantics ribbony sandals to make a comeback to match the storybook-esque setting. I'm convinced only 2D can pull off its extraness. It's not show-stopping like Enchantics by any means, but definitely way better than what we got. Next, Charmix. I think retaining the girls' magic space form and adding accessories to represent their new upgrade is a great way to differentiate a power-up from a full-on transformation. Considering that it's meant to be just a power-up though, I think it serves its purpose well enough. I really miss the days when transformations were treated as power-ups instead of a ploy to make more merch, because when you think about it, transformations are supposed to be an upgrade. But honestly, after Enchantics, the power level of the transformations that supersedes it felt more or less the same. Transformations used to be something that's earned through sacrifice, effort, and hard work, but we can see that as the series progresses, they become more and more unnecessary and shallow. The only reason so many exist is because a transformation has certain perks that the Winx quote-unquote need during specific seasons. A little BS, in my opinion. This might ruffle some feathers, but I don't really like Bluemix. Maybe it's because its predecessor is Enchantix, but getting this after Enchantix was such a letdown. Even as a kid, I never really liked it, but now as a grown-up, I don't think my mind was exaggerating. It's just a bit too visually chaotic in my opinion. If Cosmix is the extreme end of the spectrum of uniformity, this would be the opposite. The girls look so distinct from each other that people might have a hard time realizing that they're actually from the same transformation sequence. The only thing that really ties them together for me is this sparkling material they have going on. But even then, we have Flora that's wearing an ensemble that feels like a draft of her Enchantics form. It's cute on its own, yes, but her design just makes her look like the odd one out here. Also, since the concept is all about making people on Earth believe in magic once again, I think getting inspiration from fairy tales and how humans view the idea of fairies would have been really interesting, kind of similar to how the Earth fairies looked in the show. I mean, just look at their character designs. They make the Winx look like children playing fairy dress up in their closet. I'm sorry. This is one of those transformations that seem lackluster in the show because of how generic the spells are, but actually look really good. Maybe I'm just a sucker for anything sparkly, but this genuinely looks so good to me. Just look at it. Thank goodness we did not lose this to 3D. You see, this feels like a redemption arc to Mythics. Looking at the mini worlds, their look matches the world they're in. Unlike Mythics where the girls felt like they were sticking out like a sore thumb, Honorix allows the Winx to fit into their environment without them blending in the background like Harmonics. Not to mention, they also go really well with our magical animals in these. Like, they look so regal together. Honorix is the side chick, while Butterflix is supposed to be the main one, is just setting Butterflix up, to be honest. There's no way Rainbow genuinely thought that it deserved the spotlight more than this. You know what's ironic? Ever since Rainbow started to have 2 transformations per season, somehow the side hoe is always better than the main one. Almost always. I said this before with Honorix, and it's the same case for season 5. Harmonics easily clears Harmonix. First off, the pastels are back and the girls are in their colors as they should be. Although their dresses have a similar cut, there are many elements that sets them apart aside from their color palette alone. They fit the underwater oceanic theme very well. The train and the back are giving mermaid, and everyone's hair looks really good. I like the small wings as well. It's the right choice in my opinion because it doesn't take away too much attention from the main focus, which is their dresses. And oh my god, their dresses. It's giving a Victoria's Secret angels in the best way possible. Third is of course the OG. The one who started it all. This might be a biased take, but given how iconic Magic Winx was, I just can't find myself ranking it any lower than my top 3. The cut is very simple, yet each girl is still distinct from one another. As the first fairy transformation, it makes so much sense that it's much simpler, so the rest of the transformations have more wow factor. It serves its purpose and helped establish the aesthetic of the show. It's fantastical, yet it doesn't shy away from technology and modernism. Do I even have to explain? Enchantics was supposed to be one of the highest forms a fairy can accomplish, and the Winx worked hard for it. Given how powerful this transformation is supposed to be, it was only right for Enchantics to look as regal and fantastical like this. I also really appreciate how the girls look like they belong in the same transformation while still being very different from each other, including elements like the dangling fairy dust, ribbon fairy shoes, sparkling translucent gloves, and dress length for each girl really unified them together. This is where Enchantics succeeds, where Bluemix failed, creating unifying elements that make them look like they belong in the same transformation, while at the same time distinguishing them apart according to their individuality. Lastly, the designs just look good in general. Now to my most controversial opinion yet. Yes, I think the best transformation design is Bluemix. The name is awful, and I know that the spells were boring as hell, but you can't convince me that they did not devour with this lineup. This warrior-esque getup feels like the only proper transformation to come after Enchantics. Anything else came nowhere near the same caliber, nor managed to be even better than Enchantics. They look like they're fairy princess warriors. They are all visually distinct, whilst having unifying elements like their headpiece, neck-to-toe suits, arm accessories, and this flowy sparkly mesh in the back. The rings are so pretty and complements their power so well, and the hair, speechless. These details are just so immaculate. I could look at them for hours. They simply looked majestic. It's more mature, unlike any transformation they've ever had, and if Rainbow actually allowed Winx to grow up with their audience, this transformation would have been perfect as their grown-up look, as they continue to be protectors and guardians of their realms, while going through their own internal battles of growing up and being apart. The beauty of this transformation is often overlooked in the fandom, and I think it's long overdue for people to give it the flower it deserves. And that's it for my ranking. I know that some of you guys might disagree or agree with my final list, but I am also curious what you guys think. So if you have a list of your own, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!